What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty Shannon here with another episode of the Steelers Global Perspective. We are talking defense, defensive playmakers, and sleeper defensive playmakers on this episode. All right, Shannon, you kicked off first last time. You're going to kick off again. Give me your defensive playmaker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Steelers have the second most expensive. This year it's the most expensive. Next year, second most expensive. Most expensive defense in the league. Bunch of people renowned as being playmakers. I'm very interested to see you go with, I have a person in mind. I'm going to say their name because if it is or it isn't, it doesn't matter. I think you're going to pick Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Well, Minkah Fitzpatrick I felt so sorry for him last year. And just seeing all the talent they brought in and getting Deshaun Elliott to allow him to be Minkah Fitzpatrick again. I expect him to have a big bounce back season as far as splash plays, creating turnovers. Yeah. He's always done it his whole career. Last year was the first year that he was unable to because he was playing like a linebacker and he didn't have the opportunities. So it's easy to say TJ because TJ's going to make plays when he's out there. It's just who he is. And but my guy this year that I'm expected to have even a better season is Alex Highsmith.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying Alex Highsmith is because last year he did not have Cam Hayward.
Yep.
Now, when you get used to playing off the side of the hip of somebody, and you there was times that I'd watch Hayward sacrifice and engage two blockers to give Highsmith that opportunity to pass rush against the tight end or, attack the running back and stayed in the block. And he did not have that with Hayward out last year. And when Hayward came back, he didn't have the burst anymore. He wasn't as effective in that role. But I think that's going to – because Alex Highsmith made a lot of plays last year. If we remember, forced fumbles to win games, interceptions returned to help win games. His sacks were down.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to change because you have so many athletes now. This defense is faster, Manny. They're faster than they've been in a long time.
Yeah.
At every level. But especially the linebackers and the secondary. So I'm really expecting to have a guy like Patrick Queen who could burst up in there and pass rush. He's explosive in everything he does.
Yeah.
That's just going to help this defense. To have the speed and the size of these young cornerbacks, if Trice can stay healthy, if Rush can progress, they've just got so many options there. But I think that where the coverage will be tighter, and they're not automatically give up him. The guy runs out 8 steps, turns around, and he hits him. That's how they took advantage of the Steelers' pass rush, and they slowed it down because we give them, if Levi Wallace was out there, here's an automatic completion because he was always 5-6 yards off. Now I think you're going to see a different defense. Of course, Jackson is going to be in there to cornerback too, but I think eventually you'll have hopefully Trice and Rush and some of these other guys too. And so I think that's going to give the Steelers rushers more time to get there, to get home. And I'm expecting that's going to be the big difference this year. And I think Highsmith, double-digit sacks, still creating turnovers. And Highsmith sits one of the best edges in the NFL now.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I do think Hayward being back, I think Benson in year 2, Ogunjobi hopefully resurge, having a better season than he had last year. I back that 100%. My defensive playmaker is Deshaun Elliott because of what you said there around Minkah, but also, there's no one in the Steeler community that I've heard of, met, that anyone's told me that has banged the drum about strong safety like I've banged that drum for 16, 17 months now and talked about it. I think I go think my batting average on talking about strong safety is literally like, every second episode kind of thing.
Yes.
100, or if not more. You can't, you just can't underestimate the value of bringing a guy like that in that knows AFC North ball.
Mm-hmm.
To me, as a Longhorns fan, he did well at Texas. To me, as someone that he does come from the Ravens, what was a really good defense when he was there. The guy's not afraid to put a hit on someone. The guy, you talked about decleating in our offensive playmaker show. This guy de-helmets guys.
Yeah, yeah.
We talked about, I brought up Roman Wilson as a character. Like Deshaun Elliott, press conference, tapping on the logo, respecting it, happy to be here at the end of it. It's almost like he gave me, I'm just going to sound odd, people are going to get all upset about it, but he gave me like a matured Juju on defense vibe. Like he's just a fun guy that's happy to be there, just wants to, he's a genuine bloke, right? But he's a really tough guy, as I said, he can put those hits on. He's versatile. He's fast. He's exactly what this team need. And so his playmaking ability won't just be seen on the – and I do think he's going to force some fumbles. I do think he's going to, absolutely force guys to, maybe there's a tip draw or something like that, tip ball, or there's going to be tackles for a loss. And maybe even they'll hopefully have some – sub-package blitz plays where he can come sweeping through, particularly with the speed of the linebackers that the Steelers have right now.
Yes.
And that's why I'm not going to say a linebacker. I'm telling you for either playmaker or my sleeper, because I expect a lot of this linebacking core. But from my perspective, when it comes to Deshaun Elliott, he will elevate this, not just the secondary, but this defense, and be a linchpin between the different levels of the defense. Depending on how the scheme and the play that they've called. But Deshaun Elliott to me is just, that's an absolute playmaker there, and something that they have not had. And even Terrell Edmonds, as great as he was, it wasn't like he was a playmaking strong safety. Like he could make plays. I'm not disputing that. But, like from my perspective, Sean Elliott is what the doctor ordered, and I'm very glad that he delivered,
Yeah, Elliott we both love Terrell Edmonds, and I respect everything he did while he was at Pittsburgh.
Oh, totally.
But Deshaun Elliott is definitely more of a playmaker than Edmonds was. Edmonds was your last line of defense. He was the guy that did all the dirty work to allow the stars to shine. He was the Ryan Clark to Fitzpatrick's Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
But Elliott is more than that. Elliott can also play slot. Elliott can also match up with tight ends like Edmonds was so good at. Elliott is a bigger hitter than Edmonds was. Elliott has better hands than Edmonds. So, yes, I think it's an upgrade even from what Terrell Edmonds gave the Steelers. And I respect everything he contributed. But I do think Elliott's an upgrade.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it's going to be fantastic. So who's your sleeper pick then?
Sleeper pick, I was really tempted to go with a guy, let's say Corey Trice. But again, it's with him, it's not talent. It's going to come down to health and availability.
Yeah, exactly.
But the more I thought about it, and I love Nick Herbig, because I believe that Herbig, with that explosiveness, that first step quickness, that bend, I just think that he's going to surprise teams, especially with that better coverage behind him, and he's going to be able to do a variety of things. But I can't get past Peyton Wilson. The reason why is the Steelers have not had a guy with this type of athleticism and difference-making speed at inside linebacker since Ryan Shazier. And we see how Ryan Shazier utilized that to impact the defense. I think that Peyton Wilson will be a linebacker early. I don't think it'll take long for him to see the field. And I think that he's 24. He's not your typical rookie.
Yeah.
And I think maturity-wise, physically mature athlete, I think he is ready to play now. I think his football IQ is off the charts based on what we heard at rookie camp. I think he knows the defense. I think his just sheer talent alone will command respect from his teammates. I think that the weaknesses the Steelers have had in the past in the middle of the field, where you could target linebackers like Robert Spillane or Vince Williams or whoever. Now you're going to have Queen and Wilson, and we're talking about extreme athleticism, quickness, mobility, and guys that are hit. I mean, Wilson loves to hit as well. So to me, I will not be shocked if Wilson isn't a starter before the year's out, and that he's going to be in discussion for Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Interesting. He's he had 6 sacks last year, so definitely with the 4.43 speed. I don't have, and that's funny, as I said, I don't have any of the linebackers because I don't think any of them are sleepers. Even Nick Herbig, I wanted to say, but I felt like the plays he made last year. I'm not gonna 100% not gonna argue with.
And imagine if we get Cole Holcomb back.
Well, so this is interesting. So the article, the hour before you and I went recorded live to air, or a couple of hours before, the Steelers put up an article on their website about linebackers. I saw it like 2 minutes before we jumped on. And they were talking about the stats. So Atlanta Roberts had like something like 103 tackles last year, 101 tackles, and like 2.5 sacks. And I can't remember how many were for a loss, the tackles. And he obviously played in all the games. And I think this was on the regular season. They didn't qualify. But Cole Holcomb only played 8 games and had 54 tackles. I think 4 of them were for a loss. And I thought about that, and I'm like, but he'd been pretty prominent. And if you think about Cole Holcomb having finished that season, then, the Steelers defense would have been a heck ton better. They might have actually done more in the playoffs. They might have done more throughout the season, but I mean, the offense wasn't good enough as well.
Yeah.
But then I also thought about it, and I'm like, but if Cole Holcomb hadn't been injured with Quan, we probably wouldn't have picked Peyton Wilson. I mean, he did fall, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like a butterfly effect. Who knows what's going to happen? So look, it's all worked out for the best, but in my mind, especially with how much sub-package this team plays, the ability to have, 3 top quality inside linebackers. And I've said this since the 17-game schedule. They're moving to an 18-game schedule. I said that when it happened. But, you have got to rotate people. That's the value. You brought up, Nick Herbig. You've got to be able to rotate people.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Steelers have 7 starting inside or outside linebackers to effectively fill 4 spots is an incredible thing. And
every one of them has the versatility to play off ball or off the edge. Yes. You never know what anybody's going to do, because Wilson could rush off the edge. Queen could rush off the edge.
I know Roberts or Holcomb could go off the edge if you had to in certain games.
Imagine if your backups end up to be Holcomb and Roberts. That's the best the Steelers have had in forever, as far as depth. But I'm just saying that Highsmith played a lot of off ball at Charlotte.
Yeah.
TJ Watts, he did as well.
TJ Watt can slip back there.
I mean, you've got guys that, as you say, not only rotate, but you can move them around. You don't know who will be coming from where.
It's a Magnificent 7 or Secret 7 or whatever,
I like it. Magnificent 7. I like it.
Yeah. So that's the way I see it when you bring up Wilson. My sleeper pick is not a sleeper to me, but I feel like people are sleeping on him, particularly because he had his contract restructured after the trade, but he's Dante Jackson. And
that's a good one.
And I don't think I would be higher and more bullish on him and more vocal about it if he was a little bit younger. Because, as you know, I wanted them to grab him 2 seasons ago. And he's getting a little bit older. But
he can still fly, though.
But he can still fly.
Yes.
A lot of people haven't put together this fact. He played football with Patrick Queen at LSU as well. There's actually a connection there.
Yeah.
The other thing is he was incredibly athletic. cornerback, a guy that went to school with a lot of like very fast wide receivers, knows that system. The other thing is the restructuring of the deal makes him a bit of a sleeper because people are like, well, the Steelers want out. No, the Steelers can, and we were talking about this in the comments section of one of the videos in the last couple of weeks. Someone said, oh, but they wouldn't have restructured and be paying him so little if he was worth keeping. And I was like, actually, it's a tactical move because, and someone said, oh, and if he plays well, then he'll demand too much. I'm like, well, actually, it'll probably actually keep his price a certain level because they're starting for a lower baseline.
Yeah.
Plus, the team are making moves to do things this season, right? That's what they're doing. But the thing about Dante Jackson is that, like, Carolina did not use him properly. They flipped and flopped between how they wanted to use JC Horn, another player I'm incredibly high on. Like, when I play Madden, I'm always bringing JC Horn in, and JC Horn and Joey Porter Jr. are a fantastic tandem. I will say that. But when it comes to Dante Jackson, super quick, gives speed at cornerback with experience, and we have not had speed and experience in the same sentence at cornerback for a long time, and it will allow Joey Porter to continue doing what he does well without being asked to do extra things in his second year that don't feed off what he did well last year. Different type of cornerback, but very vital cornerback. But Dante Jackson is versatile in that regard. I put out a video about 24 hours that I recorded before my business trip this week. That's why it's been quiet on the channel. Put out a video about Joey Porter Jr. Being elite, and I went through and compared Joey Porter Jr. in his rookie year of players with over 10 pass defenses in their rookie year, to players in their first or second year that had over 10 pass defenses, and kind of where are they at now? There are only 97 players in the history of the NFL not the full history, but going back to the merger, that have had 10 pass defenses in their rookie year or better. And Dante Jackson was up there as one of them. I think off the top of my head, he had like 14, right? Which puts him actually in like the top 50 or 60. This is the guy the Steelers have picked up by getting rid of a problem in Deontay and freeing up like $10 million in cap. And they're paying the guy $3.5 million. That's cheap as chips for a cornerback that's probably a top 40 cornerback in this league, if not better, on his day. So I think it's a sleeper pick. A lot of people don't, I still see people say, oh, well, the Steelers get Pat P. I'm like, someone registered that Dante Jackson is an incredible, he could, like, if he played to his potential, Dante Jackson could be one of the top 3 best cornerback 2s in the NFL. If he plays to have potential and the Steelers use him, right? And he's going into a secondary with Minkah Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Elliott, who we just said, and playing against Joey Porter Jr. that's going to take the big wide receiver out of the game. Like, Dante Jackson could feast in this defense.
Yeah. Did you see where they was talking to Terrell Austin, and he said that they like the fact that JPJ is going to be pressing and up close, and Jackson, he likes to be off a little bit and read and react more. He can press it. He's got the speed to recover on about anybody, but he likes to keep it, be looking to keep it in front of him. And it's a good mix. See, last year, even when you had Joey Porter Jr., on the other side, a lot of times you had Levi Wallace, and he's getting toasted. Yeah. Now you got somebody that is going to excel in that role. They're not going to ask him to do something that he doesn't excel at. And then you also have the depth behind them. So it's a great opportunity. And is with Jackson, and also if he has the success I think he could have, he might want to come back to Pittsburgh because, he's not experienced that for the last few years.
Correct. But if he finishes the year with 6 interceptions, don't be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised by that. My over on him is 4.5 interceptions.
And you give that pass rush, and that makes quarterbacks make mistakes. And these guys could feast on that.
And if they know that if they're already saying Joe Porter Jr. is locking down one of their key, like their best wide receiving competitor or one of their main threats, we've got coverage on the tight end, and you've got a guy, as you said, who's that quick but is sitting off and waiting to make a mistake. And they also know that you've got athletic linebackers in Queen and Wilson. Like the quarterback is you got 3 options: run the ball and get smashed by the Steelers defense that are quick. That's the problem, which is why you're hiring in the first place. You can throw it out or you can make a bad throw. Right? And a lot of quarterbacks in this league, particularly the younger ones, are going to make the bad throw. Not many throw it away.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying, like, could be anything and everything. So,
and you've seen in the comment section of the Joey Porter Jr. article, I was commenting that I believe he's a top 5 cornerback already. And I know some people disagree, but I think if you watched him, and I watched the other guys that's considered Pro Bowl or All Pro level, and you got to include him in that group. He's that talented.
Well, you know, the Move the Sticks guys back you on that. Bucky Brooks said he's already on his way to being the shutdown corner.
Yep.
And they said the thing is, his draft evaluation, and I didn't have a first round grade. They said he was right because it was the right evaluation. But what people didn't expect is just how well he adjusted to the NFL. Yeah, his dad played in the NFL and all the rest of it, but he played a different position. Yes, you can talk about mentality and all those things, but they're like, he has not only adjusted to the NFL, but he's improved in the NFL. And you can't, and Bucky Brooks said this really clearly, like, particularly, like, you can't expect that of a player. You've got to go on what they're projected based on what they've done in college. You can expect a bit of growth. You can't expect them to just first year out automatically go, yeah, I'm a pro. This is the pro, and I'm going to fit in this well. And Bucky was a good corner himself, so he's talking about it from that perspective. But you know, he was really bullish. But those guys rated the Steelers secondary as the number 1 secondary in the AFC North, right? And that was ahead of a cornerback room that's very good at the Browns. That was ahead of what everyone talks about, the Ravens. And I loved when they did it. I was worried they were going to put us fourth. They put us fourth for a lot of things, but they didn't. They put us first, and I backed them on it. And so, I just think this is going to be a really, really fun defense to watch.
Well, me and you both, if I remember right, in where we had Joey Porter Jr. ranked, I had him early second round. Yeah. Which basically, even though he went 32nd, it was still
the first
second round.
Yeah.
But it's hard for an elite corner in college a lot of times there's questions because they don't get thrown at.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to go attack the cornerback 2 for Penn State. They're not going to go after Joey Porter Jr.
Correct.
And so we questioned his hands. And he showed that he can't catch the ball. He can't intercept the ball. We know his length and his shutdown ability. We questioned his speed a little bit. How would he be able to keep up? Well, that's not a problem. And then with his physical style, could he rein that in a little bit and not draw a ton of penalties? Yeah. And I was really pleased. Yes, he got some penalties, but hey, I'll take it. It's you know, if you're going to pay a price for being aggressive.
Well, I remember the first basketball game I ever fouled out with when I was 13. I was 13 years old. And my grandfather rang me that afternoon. He said, "How'd you go today?" And I went, "I fouled out at the start of and when you play at that level in Australia, you play 2 halves of 20 minutes. You don't play 4 quarters. Because it helps them cycle through the games. And I said I fouled out at the start of the second half, and my coach wasn't happy. And I was playing center, right? And he said, "You fouled out, and you're up." And he said, "How many points and how many defensive rebounds?" Because I was really good at defensive rebounds, not offensive so much. I was like, I don't know, we've been like 8 to 10 or something. And he went, "He had a great game." And I remember saying, "I fouled out." And he went, "He had a great game. You don't foul, you don't try."
He was productive.
Down. Exactly.
It was productive minutes. So again, you can play a whole game and never get a pass interference. And the Steelers corners are famous for that because they're not even in the picture. Exactly. I don't know how many times I've seen a receiver catch the ball and, you know, from the TV shot, and there's nobody in the picture. With Porter, man, he's right there. He is on him. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, that was a pass interference. Sometimes he got away with the pass interference. Yeah. But he's trying. I'd rather go down fighting. It's like a pitcher. We was watching the Pirates game the other night, and Cameron said, "Why do you get aggravated at Holderman?" I said, "Because Holderman loses on his secondary pitches. His best pitch is the 4-seamer, 98, 99, up and in, or a high, you know, Make that guy beat you with your best stuff. But he doesn't have confidence in it, and it's a big moment, and he goes to his second or third best pitch. I can't stand that. If you're going to lose, go down swinging.
Exactly.
And that's what you can count on with Joey Porter Jr. because he competes to the max every play.
That's it. That's exactly it. And the thing about it too is like that his play, he actually can't afford not to compete because what he is good at, which is what you've said there, is the physicality, the being on top of them, the shutdown. As soon as he backs off,
he's not going to be the same.
He's not the same. But also, the thing that will work in Joey Porter Jr.'s favor throughout the course of his NFL career is that wide receivers know when they go up against him, it's going to be physical. It's going to be tough. And that's how he got that key interception in that Ravens game, is that he stood over the bloke and absolutely got in front of him, of course, to make the interception. But he matched him physicality-wise all the way through that play. I think that it's going to be incredible to see that from Joey Porter Jr.
I mean, he matched up well against a lot of really good receivers last year. I mean, everybody thought for sure, Higgins or Chase was going to just roast him. No, I mean, and you see him get frustrated because this guy's competing.
Yeah, 100%. The only other knock I had on him coming out of college was I wondered about that short speed and zone defense as well, because he didn't do some of those drills, and it wasn't what he was asked to do at Penn State. But again, not that the Steelers asked a lot of that from him last year, but I feel like I saw enough that I wouldn't even call it a concern. Well, actually, no, it was a concern of him being drafted, but it wasn't a concern once I saw him in camp. But anyway, that element, I'm, no issues there now. So
he obviously he doesn't have a lot of experience doing that, but I thought he was more than adequate when he had to.
That's what I mean. Like, it wasn't, you didn't sit there and you go, oh man, that's a weak spot for him.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Steelers Global Perspective. Stay tuned for more as the weeks roll on, going into training camp. Exciting season ahead. As always, let us know in the comments who are your sleepers, who are your playmakers, on special teams. I'm Matty P with Shannon White. As always, go Steelers.